source for Southeast sports.
Here in Athens, Georgia, home of the University of Georgia Gym Dogs. Today's meet between Georgia and Utah has been called the Clash of the Titans, and for very good reason. Hello, everyone. I'm Melissa Moscow alongside Corey Fritzinger. Corey, there's so much history between these two programs. Each has 9 NCAA championships. They've gone 1-2 in the past 3 postseasons, and they happen to have the winningest coaches in college gymnastics history.
Greg Marsden leads. He's the head coach for the University of Utah. He has 900-plus wins under his belt. And then Suzanne Yoklin comes in second with 800. Anytime these two teams come together, you know it's going to be a great competition.
A few weeks ago, we saw Georgia here at Stegman against West Virginia. They looked a bit shaky. They went on the road against LSU and looked very, very good. Well, how important is it for them to come out and make a statement here tonight?
You know, they just got to put those 2 meets behind their belt. Even though they did great at LSU, you know, tonight's a different meet. And so Courtney Kupets, she was the all-around champion at LSU, followed by Tiffany Tolnay. We're looking for great things from them. But also those girls that only do 1 or 2 events, they need to step up as well.
Utah loaded with talent. They have a lot of All-Americans just like Georgia. What's the key for them to come out here and look strong as the second-ranked team in the nation?
Tonight, they're really just going to have to come out and do well and stick all their routines. They're number 2 right now, as you said, Christina Basket. She's a 2-time NCAA bar champion. She's going to do great for them. But also Jamie Dietzkrieg. She only competed 2 events for Utah last year. But Greg has said she's done fabulous this year. She's in their lineup as an all-arounder, so I know they're expecting great things from her, too.
So 2 quality teams. I'm going to put you on the spot. Who wins then?
Really, it's going to come down to who can execute the best and who's going to stick their landings.
The Gym Dogs do have history on their side. They're 8-2 all-time against Utah here at Stegman Coliseum. When we come back, we will get things underway. Stay with us.
Hey, Bulldog fans. Welcome to the new GeorgiaDogs.com. Customize your fan experience with our new G-Dogs ID feature. Access exclusive live and on-demand content with G-Extra. Purchase your favorite Bulldog photos in our online store. Bid today on exclusive auction items. Keep track of the dogs online with Game Watcher. And browse the largest collection of Bulldog gear anywhere with the GeorgiaDogs.com G-Shop. Do it all on the new GeorgiaDogs.com.
Georgia fans, springtime is just around the corner, and that means the action will be heating up at Foley Field. Season tickets for the SEC champion Georgia Bulldogs are on sale now. Reserve your seats by calling 877-542-1231 or log on to GeorgiaDogs.com and don't miss a minute of the action of Georgia baseball.
GeorgiaDogs.com, official online stores where Bulldogs fans gear up for game day. With an awesome selection of over 1,400 items, GeorgiaDogs.com, official online stores where you'll find jerseys, t-shirts, hats, polos, and more. GeorgiaDogs.com, official online stores where Bulldogs fans get everything they need.
Why are energy drinks bad? 12 spoons of sugar? That's bad. 200 calories? Bad. Guarana? Tisk, tisk. Good for a short jittery burst, then a debilitating crash. So don't drink energy drinks. Drink 5-Hour Energy. It's not a drink, more like a sip. But with that sip, you'll feel alert and focused for hours, without the crash or jitters. It has 0 sugar, only 4 calories, and no guarana. 5-Hour Energy. Hours of energy now, no crash later.
We are back at Stegman Coliseum. I'm here with Utah head coach Greg Marsden. Coach, you've had 2 tough opponents to start the year, a big win against UCLA at home. Now you're here at Stegman facing 4-time defending champion Georgia. How does this help your team be mentally tough for the rest of the year?
Well, we like to see the best teams early so that we can see how we match up, so that if we need to tweak some things and do some things differently, we've got the entire season to do that.
You know better than anyone it takes a team to win a national championship, and you've really had some gymnasts step up already this year. How pleased are you with their performance so far in 09?
You know, I'm really pleased. We've had some you know, we lost a great gymnast in Ashley Postel, and we needed to kind of fill those spots by committee, so to speak. And we've had Jamie Dietzkrieg and Nina Kim and just a host of people who have really upped their game this year. Had a great off-season, worked hard, were determined, and have done a great job. Gail Mackey, just a lot of people.
Thanks, Coach. Best of luck today.
All right, thanks.
And following Olympic order, the home team always begin to meet on the vault. And here we find Georgia's Lauren Stessler.
Lauren's going to start off for the Gym Dogs with a big Yurchenko Arabian. You see on the landing she had a little bit of a stiff leg landing, which caused her to bounce forward and take that step. So that's going to be a deduction on this vault, as we show you again.
A 9.8 for Lauren Stessler. And we should mention, you will notice both teams wearing pink tonight, including Utah's Nina Kim.
Nina starts off her bar routine with a toe shoot handstand to an immediate overshoot and an uphill. That will be a big combination move for her. Her second handstand is all the way up, followed by a reverse hex. Last handstand also done nicely. She winds up for her dismount, 2 giants to a full out and a stuck landing. So a great bar routine for the Utes to start off.
And the pink, of course, is in honor of those battling breast cancer.
And both teams tonight are wearing it, and the money that's raised for each 9-9 that the girl scores goes towards the American Breast Cancer Foundation.
Here's Cassidy McComb.
Cassidy does a Yurchenko full and a very small step, or hop, excuse me, backwards, but we saw her last week do that vault, land with her chest a little bit low, so it was good to see her to actually get the height off the horse this week and come up with a little bit bigger of a score.
Another 9.8 for the Gym Dogs. Here we find Jamie Dietz Creek.
Jamie starts off with a toe shoot Shaposhnikova to the high bar, overshoot handstand to an uphill, again one of those combination moves. Her second handstand looks to be a little bit short. She does a giant full to a reverse hex. Now she'll get ready for her dismount, a double layout, and another stuck landing for Utah. So they're really kind of answering back Georgia. Each vault that Georgia gets, you know, Utah's putting up some pretty decent scores on bars.
I have a feeling we'll be back and forth, given the caliber and talent of both these teams. A 9.875 for Jamie Dietz Creek. Back over to vault. The powerhouse from Georgia, Marcia Newby.
Marcia will do Yurchenko Arabian and a very small step to the side. That was great. Last week she took a huge hop forward. So she's kind of honing in on her landings now, and that was a fantastic vault for her.
9.85 for Marcia Newby, the top score for Georgia on the vault so far tonight. Here is Gail Mackey.
Gail starts off with a hex mount over the low bar, kip handstand to a blind change, and a huge release move. Her second handstand is all the way up. That's a Higgins turn to a piked Jaeger. So far, 2 release moves in her bar routine, and both of them very big. Overshoot to the low bar. Now her handstand was a little bit short at the end. 2 giants to a double layout. And a stuck landing, and she turned to salute the judges, so it would be interesting to see what they do with that score as far as the landing goes, but otherwise a very nice routine.
Here's another look at that landing. A 9.875. We talked about how crucial those landings would be when you have 2 teams with All-Americans such as Georgia and Utah. Courtney Coupette, the senior.
Courtney's vault is a Yurchenko half on, front pike off, and a very tiny hop at the end, but otherwise a fantastic vault.
A beautiful vault. Will it be perfect? Not quite. Why the 9.95 and not the 10, which we actually don't see very much of anymore in college gymnastics?
Just that itty-bitty hop at the end and maybe a little bit of a leg separation, but otherwise one of the best vaults we've seen from her.
Daria Bijak.
She starts with a toe shoot Shaposhnikova to the high bar, handstand pirouette, 1 giant, giant full to a Ginger. Second handstand is all the way up, but she actually went over just a little bit and had to pull it back, did an overshoot to an uphill. Last handstand looks very nice. That's a Higgins turn to a double front and another stuck landing for Utah. So they're doing fantastic on their dismounts tonight.
A big score for Daria, a 9-9 on the uneven bars. Utah's best score so far tonight. Back over to vault, Tiffany Polnay.
Tiffany was warming up a huge vault, and she did do it here tonight at 1.5. She's one of the only gymnasts in collegiate gymnastics that does that vault. Took a little bit of a hop backwards, but we really haven't seen that vault from her in the past year, so it's good to see her upgrading just a little bit.
Another 9-9. We're starting to see some very big scores from these two teams. How exciting. This is Christina Basket.
As we said earlier, Christina is a 2-time NCAA champion on the uneven bars. She's a giant full to a giant half and a huge reverse hex, immediate pack salto, the half pirouette on the low bar to an uphill. Her last handstand is just a little bit short to a double layout dismount and a beautiful landing. So another fantastic routine for Utah.
That routine seemed to go very quickly.
She's a very fast twitch gymnast.
Another big score at 9-9-2-5 for Utah. So both teams coming up with big scores towards the end of the rotation. Utah leads the way after one rotation over the Gym Dogs. When we come back, UGA heads to the uneven bars.
Bulldog fans looking for the season highlight DVD.
Gym Dogs after one rotation, not a position the Gym Dogs are usually in. Here we find Gina Nuccio kicking things off on the uneven bars.
Gina's been great so far for the Gym Dogs. She starts with a giant full to a ginger. A great combination for her. Gets her a little bit more bonus in her routine. Her last handstand is just a little bit short, and she does a full out dismount. And her knees buckled a little bit on the landing, so she had to take that step backwards. But so far, a good routine. And, you know, coming in as a freshman, it is a little nerve-wracking, but she seems to step up to the plate a lot.
Gina with a 9.825. Here is Annie DeLuzio making her debut here at Stegman tonight.
She'll do your Yurchenko full, the big hop backwards, so that's probably going to be the biggest deduction that the judges are going to take on that vault, because otherwise she got great height off the horse and had good execution, just the big hop.
A decent score to start things off for Utah on the vault, a 9.825. Here's Marcia Newby.
Marcia will start her routine with a Shaposhnikova to an overshoot handstand. Marcia, just when she swings bars, you know, her legs are so long that it's absolutely gorgeous. She does a Stalder to a big reverse hecht. Her last handstand's all the way up. She'll do two giants to her new dismount, a double layout, and a step backwards, but otherwise a pretty decent routine.
Take another look here, a 9.825, and probably the step is what hurt her. Back over to vault. This is Jamie Dietz Creek.
Jamie's also going to compete at Yurchenko full. She also takes a hop backwards, so we're not seeing those more controlled landings that we saw them do over on the uneven bars.
A 9.8 for Utah. Trying to hang on to that slim lead. Here's Grace Taylor, one of my favorite gymnasts to watch on both the uneven bars and the balance beam.
Grace is a gorgeous gymnast. She does a front Stalder half, overshoot to a handstand, Stalder handstand to a Stalder uphill, and her signature Komenich flip. Her last handstand is all the way up, and two giants to a double layout dismount, and a stuck landing, a great bar routine for Grace.
Very nice, and she knows it. Jay Clark likes it as well.
One of my favorite things to watch is the gymnast's faces when they land, if they do stick.
A big score, 9.925. You always had good facial expressions when you had a good routine, I must say. Here is Nina Kim from Utah.
Nina's vault tonight is also a Yurchenko full. And we see with each landing, the hops get a little bit smaller, but they're still there. So it seems like Utah needs to concentrate just a little bit more on trying to stick those landings.
Another 9-8 score. We're seeing a lot of those on vault here for the Utes. The senior from Georgia, another great bar worker, and Tiffany Tolnay.
Tiffany is great. You can see each one of her handstands will be all the way up. She does a blind change to a straddled Jaeger, another handstand to an overshoot.
You know, we were here a few weeks ago for the West Virginia meet, and what a difference in caliber between, you know, Utah coming in here and West Virginia. Just the technique alone is outstanding from Georgia and Utah.
And you can also tell that Georgia's competing to their competition this week, too. They know that Utah can outscore them, so they're honing in more on the more minor details.
A big score for Tiffany Tolnay, a 9-9.
The only deduction right there at the very end, that step.
Here is Christina Basket, who had a great bar routine a few minutes ago.
And she does a Yurchenko full as well, and still the landing, the little hop backwards. So the judges are really coming down on the gymnast.
A 9-8-5. Courtney Kupets from Georgia will round out the second rotation. She's coming off a 9-9-5 on her vault.
Here she'll do a toe shoot Shaposhnikova to an overshoot handstand to an uphill. Second handstand all the way up. Hop full to a big reverse hecht. Against West Virginia, Courtney did score a 9-9-7-5. She only has her dismount left. It's going to be a big double layout. And another fantastic bar routine from Courtney.
Once again, both teams finishing strong on their rotations. And another huge score, a 9-9-7-5. This ought to be a very interesting evening. And it's extremely close. The Gym Dogs reclaim the lead. When we come back, we'll talk with UGA head coach Suzanne Yakulin. Stay with us. I'm back with UGA head coach Suzanne Yakulin. Suzanne, you talked about that the fact these two teams bring out the best in each other. We've already seen some impressive scores here tonight.
Right. You know, it's like punch, 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 back and forth. And, you know, I never thought that at the beginning of the season, this early in the season, the focus would be on landings. But clearly that's what this meet has been about so far. It's been the landings. They stuck a lot of bar dismounts. Their landings on vaulting were really off. You know, we had some great vaults today, and it's amazing that both teams are hitting, and it's like punch and rebound, and I'm sure the second half's gonna be just as intense.
What will you tell your team heading into the final rotation?
Nothing. I've said it all before we got here. Now it's time to just enjoy it and have fun and just, you know, hopefully recoup the benefits of our hard work.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
So now we're back over on beam to start the third rotation. This is Hillary Morrow. Right before her, Paige Burns went up and unfortunately had a fall, so there really is no margin of error for the Gym Dogs on balance beam, as Hillary starts with a very nice flight series, a back handspring layout step out.
Hillary is a sophomore from Boston, Massachusetts. Last season, she was a second-team All-American on the balance beam. And you know, Suzanne had mentioned to me that she wouldn't say anything the final two rotations, but she is one coach that I think is constantly coaching, and I can't imagine her not giving her team any instruction over the next few minutes.
Yeah, not so much that she won't say anything, but she wouldn't get on to the girls. I mean, they're doing fantastic here tonight, so she really doesn't want to kill the spirit that they already have. So I think that's more what she meant by it.
I'm sure a little pressure here. I mean, as we mentioned in the beginning, they've been 1-2 in the last 3 NCAA championships, and Utah actually beat Georgia in the opening meet last year.
They did, so this is kind of a redeeming meet for Utah to come out and win, as Hillary finishes up her beam routine with a round-off double full, takes a small step, and you saw throughout that whole routine really no mistakes. So after the unfortunate fall from Paige, Hillary comes back and does a fantastic job, scoring a 9-8-2-5 as the second person up.
Over to floor, here is Daria Bijak. Daria is a junior from Germany.
One thing that you'll notice with Utah's floor routines and Georgia's that we'll see later, they just have great choreography. And it seems like the girls just really enjoy doing their floor routines. As Daria starts off her first pass, a double pike. She will switch leap to a cat leap double. That is a leap series, something that every gymnast has to have in their floor routine.
Daria is actually an Olympian. She competed for Germany at the Beijing Olympics. She performed on all 4 events in the team preliminaries and was Germany's highest scorer on the floor.
That's probably got to be one of the most memorable experiences of her life.
Oh, could you imagine? Just unbelievable. I'd love to sit and have a cup of coffee with her to talk about it. She is a contender for the NCAA all-around title this year. No surprise given her background.
So far, this floor routine is very well. Her second pass was a 2.5 punch front. She came out of it a little bit early. Now it's a lunge backwards, but she only has 1 pass left here. A double full punch back layout step out, something that we don't usually see. Most girls punch forward out of their twisting, but that was very unique and a great floor routine for Utah.
And against UCLA in their opening meet, they actually fell on the floor. So I'm sure they feel very relieved to start off with a 9.875.
We're going to see her second pass again, where she had a little bit of that mistake, but really the only one in the whole floor routine.
Back over to beam, Cassidy McComb.
Cassidy, another great beam worker for Georgia. She starts off with a unique flight series. Back handspring step out, 1 arm back handspring, layout step out. You see she had a very tiny balance check, but really not going to be a deduction because she was able to pull it back.
And we always talk about this move. Did you ever ask Nikki Child if she took the routine, or did you?
No, I didn't, but I'm definitely going to the next time I see her.
That is your goal for our meet on February 7th, to find out about if she asked Nikki if she could take that from her or not.
I will find out for everybody and let y'all know.
Cassidy's a sophomore, of course, from Henderson, Nevada. She was a first-team All-American on floor last year.
There you see the first mistake of Cassidy's routine. She was supposed to connect her switch leap straight into her tuck jump full, but since she was a little bit off, had to pause and replace it with a beat jump, so she is going to lose a little bit of her combination. Now she finishes up with a round-off double full, lands with her chest really low, but does stick the landing, so there are going to be a few deductions in that routine.
A little bit of a rocky start for Georgia on the balance beam, especially with the fall to start things off, and a 9.775 for Cassidy McComb.
But we do have some hot shots coming up later, so hopefully they can pull it together.
Well, here's a definite hot shot on the floor. Nina Kim, a senior from Houston, Texas. She is considered Utah's clutch performer. She has struggled with injuries throughout her career, but appears to be healthy, starting off her senior year.
She's a fantastic competitor, and you know, sometimes when athletes do get injured, it just makes them even better competing because they just want to make up for that lost time. In her first pass, a front handspring double full punch front, a very difficult pass, all blind landings.
At the NCAAs last year, she competed on vault, bars, and beam, not the floor exercise.
Second pass is a double pike, something that we've seen the other girls open up with. That was a switch ring to a torchete half.
She also went to Beijing to watch the Olympics.
The cat leap double. Just a couple dance moves before the last pass. Try to get your breath back. Get a little energy.
She's actually very good friends with gold medalist Natsia Lukin. And that's why she went to Beijing, to watch her good friend win the gold. And a very nice floor routine for Nina Kim.
She just did the Utah symbol to all the fans over that have traveled very far to come watch this team. And the score does represent that that was a fantastic floor routine.
Not easy to do here at Stegman Coliseum with that daunting crowd sitting behind you. Over to beam, the senior Tiffany Tolnay.
Tiffany starts off her routine with a switch side. She knows what's at stake here. Utah putting up big scores on the floor.
knows that she has to answer back with this beam routine. Back handspring layout, step out.
She was an All-American on the balance beam last season. No big surprise for this young lady.
Beam was not one of her stronger events as a freshman, but in the last couple of years, she really has stepped up to the plate. That was actually new. She's added since last week, a switch leap straddle jump. She used to not connect it into the back tuck, so trying to get a couple extra bonus points.
One thing I've noticed about covering her over the past few years is she seems to be a lot more stronger mentally.
Very much. Only a couple more skills left in her balance beam routine. This one, big front tuck, and a little bit of a wobble, but not a fall, so that was good.
She was third at the NCAA all-arounds last year.
Finishing up with a switch leap, gainer full, and a small hop forward, but besides the front tuck, a pretty solid routine for Tiffany.
How much of a deduction for that wobble we saw?
Could be up to 2/10, but it just depends, and they definitely took the 2/10 on it, and then
a 9.75. Tiffany, of course, had huge scores on both the vault and uneven bars. Back over to the floor, here's Christina Basket. I know one of your favorites from Utah to watch.
She's a great gymnast. First pass, double Arabian, and a big step forward, actually almost stepped out of bounds. She kind of did what we call toe in the line.
She's a senior from Normandy Park, Washington, a 7-time All-American.
Here for her second pass, double pike. Wolf full to a straddle popa. She's just really playing up the crowd as if she were at home.
I get the sense Utah feels very welcome here.
I really
very comfortable, I guess is a better word.
I think it has to do with Utah. I think for the past, I don't even know how many years, they are #1 in attendance ratings for their Coliseum. I think they maybe have over 12,000 fans at all of their competitions, so they're very used to competing in an arena like this with so many people in the stands.
Well, the Utes actually opened at home against UCLA. 12,951 fans came out. It was the biggest opening night in gymnastics for them.
And so here, coming to Georgia, you know, most other teams are intimidated by our crowd, and they're like, oh, well, it's 2,000 less than what we have at home.
No kidding. A 9.85 for Christina. There's more to come here from Stegman Coliseum. Grace Taylor on the balance beam when we come back. Back in Athens, Georgia, where the Gym Dogs are hosting the Utes from Utah. Here is Grace Taylor, who's coming off a great performance on the uneven bar. She had a 9.925 on that event and is certainly capable, Corey, of a huge score on the balance beam.
She's going to start off her routine with a one-arm back handspring layout, 2 foot, and a stuck landing. Grace is a fantastic balance beam worker.
She is the reigning NCAA championship on the balance beam. She posted a 9.95 in the 5th slot.
Saw there she did a full turn with her leg at horizontal to a gainer layout. Here she will do a switch leap straddle jump. And one thing you'll notice about Grace is her amazing flexibility, which she will show off right here. All of her splits that she does, every split leap that she does is over 180 degrees. Right into a front aerial.
Wish I could do that.
I never got that flexible, I can tell you that much.
You were a pretty good beam worker, though, as I recall.
Here's her dismount. She had a little bit of trouble with it against West Virginia. And
very nice.
No problem here tonight. 2 back handsprings to a double full.
That is why she's a first-team All-American on this event. A huge score, a 9.9.
So something the Gym Dogs are looking for on this event. Haven't had very many high scores so far.
Very well done. Here's Annie DeLuzio, a junior from Folsom, California. The vault is actually her strongest area in gymnastics.
She starts her routine with a huge triple full. And I don't see very many people doing those anymore.
Head coach Greg Marsden says she's a very strong tumbler.
I've come to find out that when the girls that are strong on vault tend to be strong on floor as well.
Makes sense, 2 power events. This is kind of interesting. She was born in Canada and has dual citizenship.
She goes for her second pass. A round off 1.5 twist to a front layout. So far, a very clean routine.
Her most difficult skill that she's ever done was a 3.5 twist on the floor exercise in her career. We talk so much about how great these teams are, but you really have to look at who is leading them. I mean, Greg Marsden, 900+ wins, the only coach in college gymnastics history to hit 900 wins. Suzanne with over 800 wins.
I mean, you just got to think of how much experience is on the floor right now between those 2 coaches and what all they've been through. 18 combined national championships.
Just unbelievable. There's got to be some healthy competition between the 2 of them. Another big score for Utah, 9-9, so Georgia and Utah answering one another. Back over to the balance beam. Here's Courtney Coupets, who's had a fantastic evening so far. 2 9-9s on her first 2 events.
Courtney's going to start off her routine with a big front tuck.
She was SEC Athlete of the Week last week and won the all-around here on CSS a few weeks ago against West Virginia.
Her flight series, handspring layout, a little bit of a wobble, but pulls it back, not a very big deduction. Cat leap to a switch side. Here she'll do a scale and go down on the beam. Each gymnast has to go down and touch the beam during their beam routine. It is a requirement for them to have.
Is that just to show that they have balance?
I'm not exactly sure why that rule's in there. I guess for the girls to have a little bit of a variety in their routine.
A little shaky there.
Switch leap gainer layout. She didn't get the good push off of her bottom leg that she needed, so therefore she's not going to get the connection. She was supposed to go switch leap, gainer layout, immediate gainer full. And so that's going to be a big deduction.
And a low score for Courtney. We don't usually see this, especially after the first 2 events. A 9.775 for Courtney Coupets.
So the girls struggling a little bit on beam. We are now tied going into the last rotation. So Georgia really going to have to put up some huge scores on floor to come back, as Utah, is trying to do the same thing over on the balance beam.
And this is certainly a fun routine to start off this rotation for Georgia. Here's the senior, Abby Stack.
Abby's also going to start her routine off with a huge triple full. Fantastic, and Abby absolutely loves performing. She loves being on floor. Her music this year is to Speed Racer. She does a double turn to a Wolf 1.5, and it's very appropriate for her to have Speed Racer because that's kind of her personality as well.
She does have some of the best choreography as far as being fun, if that's the right word.
Yeah, she loves to play to the crowd. Double full, punch front.
A senior from Matthews, North Carolina, and from what I hear, she's very busy these days.
She is. She got engaged in the fall and is going to get married this summer. And so I guess in between getting ready for competition, she's also doing some wedding preparations. I actually saw a picture of her dress, so it's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. Her mother.
Oh, need one. I couldn't imagine going to college, competing, and planning a wedding all at the same.
Yeah, her mom's helping her out a lot. So last pass, a double pike, a fantastic floor routine for Abby.
And I love the ending.
Just absolutely exhausted.
Makes me tired looking at her. And the fans, of course, here just love it.
We're going to look again at her second pass. A 9.875, so a great routine to start off, a great score.
Georgia looking good so far, and the fans loving every minute of it. We'll be right back with more from Stegman Coliseum. Coliseum, and we find Jamie Dietz Creek starting the final rotation on the balance beam for Utah. Again, this meet was tied heading into this final rotation.
So Utah does know how important it is to not only stay on the balance beam, but to put up some big scores. And there is a very unique flight series, a round-off layout 2-foot.
Jamie is a junior and actually surprised everyone, even her own teammates and coach, when she won the all-around against UCLA last week in her first career attempt at doing so. And she, before the meet, Greg Marsden told me she really was a huge, nice surprise for him last week and expects tremendous things from her throughout the 2009 season.
And that's something we did mention earlier. She only competed 2 events last year. So to come in, and that's also big for the program, to have another all-arounder, somebody else that you can have on those other events to come in and step up. A very nice cartwheel gainer full off the side. So a gorgeous beam routine for her.
Her dad's actually a pro golfer, so athleticism runs in her family. A 9.825 for Jamie Dietz Creek. A solid score for Utah in the opening rotation there. Here is Hillary Morrow on the floor.
Hillary's going to start off her floor routine with something that we don't usually see gymnasts do. She does a round-off immediate double Arabian. She took the back handspring out, so to imagine you can get that much power out of just a round-off.
And we should mention that you're seeing a lot of pink tonight, both in the crowd and on both teams, in honor of the fight against breast cancer, which the Gym Dogs hold very close and dear to their hearts.
Yeah, a couple years ago, one of the girls on the team, Talia Vexler, she actually was, I believe, 2 years older than me when I was on the team, and at the age of 23, she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and that's when the team kind of started deciding that maybe we should get in on this and try to see what we can do to help. So we came up for Champions Against Cancer the first year and went out and competed, and people pledged for every 9.9 or higher that we scored that night that they would pledge so much money, and we'd give it to Athens Regional Medical Center that's right there in Athens, Georgia. So it's just become a tradition now every year. And so hopefully maybe we can get a couple more of those pledges with this floor routine that Hillary just did, ending with a huge double pike, a gorgeous floor routine for her.
Suzanne Yacklin hopes they can raise $30,000 between this and the stiletto race, which you'll have to tell me what that is in just a moment. Hillary Morrow, a 9.875, a solid score on floor for Georgia. Again, this meet tied. Back over to the balance beam. Here is Christine Basket.
She's done very well so far tonight for Utah. She's a fantastic gymnast, as I keep on saying. She is one of my favorites over with Utah. Handspring layout, step out. She's a top contender for them every year, as you mentioned before, national champion, 7-time All-American. Just one of those go-to gymnasts that they know that each time they put her up, she's going to give them a big score. Switch leap, straddle jump for her leap series.
I'm sure she'll play a key role in the NCAA championships this year. And the postseason tournament ought to be very interesting.
That was a front kick over to a twiddle jump. Yeah, I think this year's nationals is just going to be, very bittersweet for Georgia with it being Suzanne Yacklin's last year, but just for Utah, to have maybe them to go out on top with getting 10 before Georgia does.
It will be interesting, that is for sure.
And a 1.5 twist as her dismount, so a solid routine for Utah. They're answering Georgia over there on the floor. Very tight competition, as we keep saying.
A 9.825.
There were only a couple little wobbles. I think that score could have been a little bit higher for her, but what you get's what you get.
Back over to floor, Grace Taylor, the junior from Aiken, South Carolina, who has also had a fantastic night tonight on the uneven bars and the balance beam, looking for another big score here on the floor.
Grace starts off her routine with a whip through to a double pike. Lands with her chest a little bit low, but great tumbling pass. And for as tiny as she is, she has a ton of power. Here she'll go into her second pass, a double tuck. And now she's just going to dance and have fun and get that crowd into these floor routines to try to get those scores up a little bit more.
So that's one thing, you know, if you feel the crowd behind you, you're going to compete better.
Her brother is a pastor and a missionary to Africa, and she says after graduation, she would love the opportunity to go out and help God's people, which I think is a really neat thing for a junior to say. I mean, you know, she's so young.
And talking about brothers, we mentioned earlier the stiletto race, which I believe the girls raised over $12,000 on Sunday for, but Grace's younger brother ran for her. There was a gym dog race, and they had people to run for them, and I ran for Gina Nuccio, and but Grace's brother ran for her and actually wore a pair of Grace's stilettos while he was running.
That is
won his heat.
That is a good man. A very good man. I'm surprised you didn't break your ankles running in your heels.
I will say I was the only person that fell.
I'm not surprised knowing you. There's a 9.85 for Grace Taylor. So far, this final rotation is back and forth. Here's Daria Bijak.
Daria has a very unique mount. She wastes no time going into her flight series, a skill that gymnasts like to get over with early. Handspring layout, step out.
So far, who has the edge in this final rotation?
It's really hard to say. The scores have been pretty comparable, so it's really going to come down to those last couple of girls and who can
stick the landing.
Stick the landing and hopefully throw out a 9-9. Big front tuck. One of the nicest front tucks I've ever seen, actually.
She's very focused, a veteran trying to pull through for her team.
And that's really what you want here in, you know, the close competition, is those girls that have experience under their belt and have felt the pressure before.
I don't know if you have felt this tonight the way I have, but the fans seem so focused and intent.
They haven't taken their eyes off of one single competitor. Whether they're a fan of Utah or Georgia's, they're watching every single routine. Their dismount, punch front full with a big hop on the landing, but the rest of the routine was solid. You don't really want to give away any tenths, and she certainly didn't while she was up on the beam.
A 9.7 for Daria. Back over to floor. Courtney Kupets, who was coming off a 9.775 on the balance beam. Very unusual for her to put up a low score like that.
She really wants to put that behind her and really attack this floor routine, starting off with a huge double Arabian. Unfortunately, it looks like she didn't get the block that she needed, opened out a little bit early. And, you know, every time I watch her do that skill now, all I can unfortunately think back to is when she got injured last year, so it just scares me a little bit.
She injured her Achilles and was the SEC Athlete of the Week, and Susie Yaklin was asked about her and really commended her. You know, we forget she's 22, but that's not easy to come back from an injury in gymnastics at the age of 22. And, you know, Suzanne mentioned that the gymnastics world is really lucky to have her back.
You know, not only that, but it is her second torn Achilles. She tore one right before the World Championships when she was in club gymnastics. She was 16 or 17 years old. And then to go through that and rehab back and make it to the Olympics, and then come in your junior year of college and tear your other Achilles. But I guess maybe the second time you know what you have to go through, and she's obviously come back very strong. Finishes her routine with a double pike.
A lot of attitude on that ending there. And hopefully she will remain happy. I mean, I can't imagine it was easy for her sitting on the sidelines at the NCAAs last year.
No, but she definitely is. Come back here, a 9.9 for her floor routine, so
3 9.9s for her on the evening despite that low beam score, so fantastic job for Courtney Kupets. Back over to the balance beam, Nina Kim. Closing out the final rotation. From the scoring, it looks like Georgia may have a slight edge here, unless Nina comes up with a big score.
And looking at the way she started this beam routine, back handspring layout, step out with no wobbles. There's just a switch leap, straddle jump, straddle jump.
Again, a senior from Houston, Texas. And she is a clutch performer.
She's a great beam worker. Every year she's put up some pretty high scores for Utah.
She competed on the vault, bars, and beam both nights at the NCAA championships last season.
Here she does a switch side. And all she has is her dismount so far. A very good routine. Round off 1.5 and a stuck landing, so definitely a routine that Utah was looking for. But the question is it going to be enough to hold off Georgia?
A 9.85 for Nita Kim from Utah. When we come back, Tiffany Tolnay has the final say on the floor. Coliseum for the final competitor of the evening. Tiffany Tolnay will wrap up the meet for the University of Georgia Gym Dogs.
Tiffany's going to start off her routine with the same pass we just saw from Courtney, a big double Arabian. Fantastic. She gets so much height off the floor.
Tiffany comes from an athletic background. Her dad was a wide receiver for Arkansas and was on the Cotton Bowl team that defeated Georgia back in 1976. We will not tell Georgia fans that, though. They're pretty serious about their football here in Athens.
You just saw from Tiffany a 2.5 punch front. Another great routine. Tiffany's another girl on this team that just absolutely loves competing for. There's a torchite half to a popa.
I said it earlier, but this season I just see so much more maturity in her as a gymnast.
It just looks like she's finally stepped into her own and just is really enjoying being out there. Not that she didn't enjoy gymnastics before, but it just looks like, you know, it's her senior year. She's going to give it all she has and just go with the flow and see what happens. Ending with a huge double pipe.
I'm sure senior night here will be very emotional and interesting.
I can only imagine what it's going to be like.
And a nice end for Tiffany Tolnay on the floor. She also had a big evening. A nice ending for the Gym Dogs. Tiffany Tolnay with a 9.875, and she had a big night as well, along with Courtney Coupetz and the rest of the team.
They did fantastic, and Georgia actually does come away with the win tonight here against Utah.
Corey, this meet was everything we thought it would be. Tied heading into the final rotation. What was the difference for the Gym Dogs tonight?
Honestly, these two teams were absolutely fantastic, but what it did come down to, like we said earlier, was the landings. Georgia did some great vaults, stuck them, their bar dismounts, and even balance beam, and then they came out with power pack floor routines. So it really came down to executing and sticking those landings.
We always talk about the seniors, Courtney Coupetz and Tiffany Tolnay, and what they add to this team, but once again, they came up with some big scores tonight.
Both of these two girls came up with 6.99s or higher tonight, which is fantastic. We're also doing the pink out meet, as you see, everybody here in pink, both teams wearing pink. So each of those scores 9.9 or higher, money goes to the Breast Cancer Foundation, so it's great to see them doing that tonight too.
A great night all the way around for the University of Georgia Gym Dogs. We'll see you next time here on CSS when Georgia hosts Auburn here on February 7th. Take care, and we'll see you then.
Hey, Bulldog fans.
You look your best, reduce stress, and replenish your body's natural balance with the Villa Day Spa and Salon. Experience the difference.
Hello, everyone. At Antioch Auto Center, we're committed to giving you quality service for your automotive needs. That's why we work for you and working under the Lord. We do not use the name of Jesus to promote our business for financial gain. We use our business as a platform to lift up the name above all names, Jesus. So whether you need prayers or auto repairs, stop in and see us or call 833-7650. 833-7650.
Mortgage rates are at historic lows, and mortgage interest is still the #1 tax deduction. And first-time home buyers are eligible for a $7,500 tax credit. Down payment assistance programs are still available in Middle Tennessee. And in a fluctuating economy, your home is the biggest and most stable investment of your lifetime. Middle Tennessee, better than you know. Contact a realtor today.
Live SEC baseball on CSS coming this spring.
Coming up on Crimson Tide this week, Alabama football signs another top recruiting class under Nick Saban. Director of Athletics Mal Moore is asking